Hi, Rachel here with PedalTalk, the behind the scenes of PedalFest. And today I'm here with Stacie talking about this year's slogan, which you can see on our shirts, more than a bike ride. So Stacie, tell us about what that slogan means.
Well, while we all love PedalFest and our cycling community, we really wanted to get back to the roots 17 years in as to why we're hosting this event. And it's about the kids. It's about the mission of Heartspring. It's about the children we're serving day in and day out at Heartspring Pediatric Services.
The funds raised at PedalFest go to Heartspring's Pediatric Services. Can you tell us what those funds could be used for?
Yes, a number of things. So when you think about the therapies we provide, it can look like equipment, and we have a lot of wear and tear when you think about items being utilized day in and day out. So replacing those pieces, lots of fun toys that help our kids get excited about their therapies. It can also look like training for our therapists so that they're staying current on best techniques and education for them. Also devices for speech therapy, testing supplies, so you name it. The funds at PedalFest are going directly to support those. The biggest support that they're providing is financial assistance for our families. So when families come to us, in some cases they aren't able to afford the therapies, and we don't ever want to turn anyone away. So we want to help that child, and you all through PedalFest and your fundraising are helping us make that possible.
I know a lot of people are wondering what has Heartspring done in regards to COVID-19. And they've seen things probably in the news, they've followed us maybe on Facebook, but how have things looked different at Heartspring with COVID coming on and being in our local community?
Yeah, so, we're taking a very serious approach to monitoring the situation through the Kansas Health Department, what the recommendations are through Sedgwick County. So as many of you know, we've had to close our doors to services, and then we've reopened, and then with things kind of building back up again, we've had to close them once again. But it gives us the opportunity to really take a look at what we're doing. And so recently we've done more in the way of telehealth for pediatric services and some of our families. That doesn't always work for every child, but for those that it does help with, making that possible. Again, there's technology needs there. Just trying to be, conscious of the safety and well-being of all of our staff, our volunteers, when you think in terms of events, and about all of our families and our kids that we're serving.
And it's definitely a trying time for any organization when you're serving children with special needs or with disabilities. It makes it that much harder, and it's something that we've worked really hard at trying to prevent any spread on our own campus, but just helping our families with resources and looking for ways in any time that you're in a situation that you're being stretched. That's when innovation comes about. So for us, looking at how do we make both PedalFest and our own services more innovative, and that's where new ideas come from. I know there's been a couple things that we put out on Facebook about how we've done sanitization, and while this doesn't work necessarily directly with PedalFest, PedalFest helps support things like this. Absolutely. So talking about some of the new technologies that have come into Heartspring since COVID and how they're going to help in the future.
Yeah. So with anyone, COVID is very expensive, especially when you're in the service industry helping children with compromised immune systems. You've really got to be on your A game. So we have purchased recently a Zono machine. If you can picture like a walk-in closet, you're able to put some trays in there. You can get stand-up mats, and it is hospital-grade sanitization. So we are able to sanitize every piece of equipment that is being utilized during our therapies. We've also purchased some fog machines. So it kind of looks like a little spray gun, if you will, and it's a very, very fine mist that will coat everything and sanitize it. So when we think about the bigger things that we can't move out of therapy spaces, we're able to sanitize all of those pieces. And again, funds raised through events like PedalFest help us purchase those. PPE gear is incredibly expensive, and at Heartspring we have a little over 500 employees, and if you are in a situation where you're working with a child, you have to be in PPE gear. Sometimes that means full coverings, gloves, mask, shields, all of that. Recently we spent a little over $20,000 to ensure that we had everything we needed on campus, and we know that that will be a cost that will be reoccurring. So again, events like PedalFest and fundraising in general help us to cover things that we didn't plan for.
And we really see this as an opportunity moving in the future, the purchase of the Zono machine and the foggers. It's something that we'll be able to use moving into the future for seasonal illnesses and influenza when it comes back around. So for us, this was not just an investment in COVID, it was an investment in the future of Heartspring and making it a healthier place for everyone.
Yeah, it's very true. We try to be, great stewards of the gifts that are given to Heartspring, and we're always thinking long term and best use. So that's a great example.
So how can the community get involved for who we ride for, our slogan, taking this back to PedalFest? How can people get involved and really step up and support an organization during this hard time?
Yeah, so, it's hard because as we think about limitations on gathering in public, and events for nonprofits are falling in to that category, and it's hurting so many nonprofits. And we hope that Heartspring is in your heart, but regardless, whoever is, stay the course and support the nonprofit that you love, because right now we really need it. We have budgeted in line items and we have goals for what these events can do for our organization to help our programs. And now more than ever, it's going to be difficult for us to make up those funds. So we hope that you continue to fundraise for us and be a part of this event, even though it looks a little different this year, because we need it.
And obviously, give what you can give, because that makes a huge difference in an organization and the lives that they impact. And indirectly, you are impacting their lives as well. So it's
right.
being part of that organization. Well, Stacie, I want to thank you for coming in to PedalTalk, the behind the scenes of PedalFest this year. And we know we covered a lot more than just PedalFest, but we wanted you to see the behind the scenes of what your money does when you help us raise money for PedalFest. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.